Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something really cool today. A draft of Duvall's comprehensive plan for 2024.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, it's
It
like a 20-year plan for the city, you know?
it really is. And what's so interesting about this is how they blend the city's history with where they want to go in the future.
And it's pretty wild.
It is.
You're going to hear about Duvall started as like a veteran homestead, and then they had to like relocate the whole town because of a railroad.
It's true. And all that really shapes how they think about things like the environment now.
Right, because they're right on the Snoqualmie River.
Exactly.
So just to set the scene, we're talking about Duvall, Washington.
Yep.
Small city in the Puget Sound region just east of the river.
Beautiful area.
Beautiful area.
Well,
lots of farmlands, forests, but still within driving distance of those bigger cities.
right. Redmond, Bellevue, all
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Yeah.
So how do they keep that small town charm while managing all the growth that's coming their way?
Right. That's the key. And that's where this plan comes in. Right. And this plan is not just some idea. It's going to guide everything, new housing to transportation to the environment.
Oh, absolutely. And it's all about doing it in a smart way, orderly and coordinated.
Yeah, make sure it fits with Duvall's character.
And address the big picture stuff
Yeah.
too, physical, social, economic needs of everyone.
Right. And how do they do that? I mean, this plan's huge.
It is
I was looking through it. It's like they have these different elements.
kind of like chapters in a book.
Yeah, each one focusing on something different.
Yeah, like environment, land, housing, transportation, you name it, they've got an element for it.
And they even use this metaphor of an octopus to describe it all.
The octopus.
Yeah, the octopus. I don't know. I was picturing a giant octopus taking over Duvall or something.
No, not quite like that.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Land use is the head of the octopus, kind of guiding everything.
Okay.
And then all the other elements like transportation or housing, those are the arms all working together.
Oh, so it's all connected.
It is.
Okay, that makes sense. Because you can't think about housing without transportation
Exactly.
or economic development without, the environment.
It's all tied together.
Right. And speaking of things being tied together, I was really struck by how much they emphasized public input.
Oh, it's so refreshing.
Yeah, it's not just, the city dictating everything. They're actually listening to the community.
Totally. They've got surveys, open houses, workshops, even a steering committee.
Really?
Yeah, and they've been doing this for a while, too. The document lists all these past updates and studies going back years.
But they're committed to transparency.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. But it's not just local voices they have to listen to, right?
Right? There's that big state-level stuff, too.
The Growth Management Act.
Exactly. The GMA.
Passed back in 1990 to manage all that rapid growth Washington was seeing.
Prevent sprawl. Keep things sustainable.
So how does that affect Duvall specifically?
Well, it sets these goals, things they have to address in the plan.
Like what kind of thing?
Well, encouraging denser urban growth, for one, reducing sprawl, promoting efficient transportation options.
Sounds like a lot to balance.
It's a real balancing act for sure.
And then they have to think about regional planning too, right?
Right. They specifically mention needing to align with King County's policies and that Puget Sound Regional Council's Vision 2050.
So Duvall's not an island. They got to work with everyone else.
Exactly. You can't just plan in a vacuum.
So with all of that in mind, what's the big picture?
Right. Where do they see Duvall in 2044?
Yeah, what's the vision?
Well, they lay it out pretty clearly. They want a family-friendly community, with lots of trails, parks, open spaces.
Sounds lovely.
It does a vibrant old town, thriving businesses,
Year-round events.
arts, music, the whole shebang.
Okay, so they're embracing their heritage, but looking towards the future too.
Exactly. And there's one more big thing we haven't talked about yet. Climate change.
Oh, right. The elephant in the room?
Well, they're not shying away from it. They actually added a whole new element to the plan just for climate change and resiliency.
Really?
It's actually required by state law now.
Wow. So the state's mandating that cities address climate change.
They are. It's a pretty big deal.
So what does that mean for Duvall?
Well, they're going to have to come up with strategies for adapting to the impacts.
Yeah.
Rising sea levels, extreme weather.
Oh, yeah. Things are getting crazy out there.
And they need to set goals for reducing their emissions.
Yeah.
Promoting renewable energy.
So it's not just protecting the environment in general, it's taking specific action on climate change.
Exactly.
Wow. So besides that whole new climate change element, were there any other big changes to the plan?
Well, they incorporated a lot of feedback from the community.
Okay, good.
And they removed some things that had already been implemented, just to keep things streamlined.
Yeah, I got to keep it up to date.
Right. They also updated all the demographic data and brought in information from other plans like transportation and capital facilities.
So it's a living document.
It is.
Constantly being updated.
It's exactly. But with any big plan like this, they have to make sure it's environmentally sound, too.
Right. That's where SEPA comes in.
The State Environmental Policy Act.
I've heard that it's a big deal here in Washington, right?
It is. It makes sure they consider the environmental impact of anything major.
And they actually mention in the plan that the 2015 version went through a full environmental impact statement process.
Yeah, the EIS.
Wow. So they really had to analyze the consequences of everything.
Yep. And consider alternatives.
So they're thinking about the air, the water, wildlife, the whole ecosystem.
It's all connected.
Right. And it sounds like the 2024 update will probably go through a similar review.
Most likely.
So it's thorough, but what happens if they need to change something down the road? Can they amend this plan?
They can, but it's not a quick process.
Oh, I bet.
There's a whole procedure they have to follow.
I'm sure it involves more public input.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a living document, but not constantly changing.
Right. There's a system in place.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've laid a good foundation here.
Yeah, we've got the history, the purpose, the structure, all that good stuff.
Now let's dive into some specifics.
Let's do it.
Starting with the environment and sustainability.
Especially with that new climate change element.
Right. We'll see how they plan to balance protecting the environment with all this new growth that's coming.
A delicate balance, for sure.
We'll be right back after a quick break.